Laws enacted during the 2012 legislative session are just now going on to the books. While not many of them deal with agriculture, the budget cuts made this past spring certainly impactful on both the LSU Ag Center and the Department of Ag and Forestry. For a recap and a look at what could happen next year, we now turn to This Week in Louisiana agriculturalist Tammi Arender with this week's special guest. Tammi?
Tammi Arender here visiting with Joe Mapes, the legislative specialist. And Joe, I know overall this past session was pretty good for the agricultural community, but I know you're already planning for next year. Tell us what you've got planned.
We are, and that's what this convention is largely about, is getting together with all the different institutions to promote agriculture in rural Louisiana. As you know, Tammi, we've got a budget deficit that we've been facing for some years now. We're going to be facing that again next year. And as that affects every department, it's going to affect the Department of Agriculture, it's going to affect LSU Ag Center, and that's going to trickle down and affect all types of agriculture. We've had some talk over the past session. This session specifically was just ended as far as tax rebate programs, tax incentive programs, and different programs that are out there involving that farming has benefited from and people who eat food have benefited from for many, many years. So what we'd like to see is, starting at this convention and in the interim, is legislators and farmers getting together so legislators can be educated as to what's going on in agriculture, what's going on in the rural communities, and how they can help as we face all of this coming at us with the looming deficit.
Technology, of course, is helping the farmers stay informed, giving you that voice. And like you say, even if you're out in the field, whether you're at home or out in the field on the tractor, you take that iPhone, you take that iPad, and instantly your voice is heard.
That's right. Technology is catching up with agribusiness. We're the largest business in the state of Louisiana, and we've got to keep promoting it in that capacity. But yes, as we get younger and more people get technology involved, it's easier ways for us to participate, doesn't require as much time on your part or energy.
How do you go about prioritizing the issues? Like, you're already planning, I'm sure, for next spring when the next legislative session starts. How do you go about prioritizing those issues? Well,
of course, we've got, it's not just us, Farm Bureau, but as Commissioner Mike Strain likes to say, we're a three-legged stool. You've got Agriculture Department, you've got the LSU Ag Center and Farm Bureau. And so we're networking amongst ourselves, but we're also traveling the country, traveling the state, and working with other commissioners and other chancellors and other farm bureaus. We've got a southeast conference of all the legislative teams from probably 15 different farm bureaus coming up, and we'll sit down and talk about what's happening in all of those states and what we can expect in the future in Louisiana and how they've been dealing with it, or how we might be able to help them deal with it in their areas too. So it's networking.
Right, absolutely. Now, I know budget cuts were really tough at the Ag Center. How are we coping with that?
I was just visiting with Chancellor Richardson, and all in all, considering what we faced coming into this session, we did very well. We had a $3.4 million mid-year cut. Then we had another $1.5 million cut in the fiscal budget during the session. We also, though, were able to find about $10 million of revenue that we've never been able to capture before for the Ag Center's budget. And so, you know, we did suffer those cuts, but with the replacement revenue that we found, we really couldn't ask to have done better than we did this session.
Right, bouncing back. That's great. Joe Mapes, thank you so much for visiting with us.
Thank you,
always,
Tammi.
always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Tammi Arender, thanks. Still to come on This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the times they are a-changin'. When did Bob Dylan start writing for our show? Kristen Oakes begins a series of Ag Minute reports looking at how technology has changed farming over the years. Stay with us.